So OpenAI just dropped GPT Image 2, and it completely changes the AI image generation game because this model can actually think before it generates, it renders text perfectly, and it's currently destroying every other model on the leaderboards by over 200 points. So today I'm going to break down every new capability, show you exactly how it compares to models like Nano Banana 2 and Seedream, and walk you through some of the most powerful use cases that are going to completely blow your mind. All right, so the first huge improvement that I want to talk about with GPT Image 2 is that now you can generate images in any aspect ratio that you want. You can select from all these aspect ratios to generate images with. Now, this for me is a huge improvement compared to their previous AI model, which was GPT Image 1.5. Now, the problem with GPT Image 1.5 was that you could only select from these three aspect ratios, and these aspect ratios were not that good, and you could not get a lot out of them. But with GPT-2, you can generate images in any aspect ratio. Now, I'm using the model inside of Higgsfield, but you can use the model on any platform that you want. Now, the first insane use case that I want to cover of this model is that using GPT Image 2 Plus codecs, you can create these really good video games that actually look nice. GPT 5.4 can already create really good video games, but the problem with AI-generated video games is that they could not create beautiful assets while generating the game, so your game would always look ugly. But now you can use GPT Image 2 inside of codecs to generate assets automatically with full animations, and that will give you a really good result like this. Now, here is another example of a game created with GPT Image 2 and Codex 5.4. As you can see, in this game, there are a lot of assets that were generated using GPT Image 2. And the thing about the model is that it is particularly good at generating game assets, which makes it very easy for you to create really good games. Now, the best example among these GPT Image 2 plus Codex generated games is this one, this Angry Birds Recreation, which uses the GPT 5.4 model along with GPT Image 2. And as you can see, it looks pretty good. It does not look like AI-generated slop at all. Now, the only problem here is that there is no movement of the stretching of the string from which the angry birds are getting thrown. It is just a still image, and the AI model has coded a different string from which the angry birds are getting thrown. But otherwise, every asset in this game looks pretty good, and I will say that this is actually a playable game which people will enjoy, rather than something which is just a prototype. Now, let me show you some other powerful use cases of this AI model. The first thing has to be the 360 equirectangular image, which is basically that if you ask the AI model to generate a 360 image, you will be able to get an image generation like this, which you will be able to explore and look around. This is a pretty cool use case of this model. Now, here is another example of such an image generated with GPT-2, and the prompt that was given here was to create a beautiful 360 equirectangular image of a Hogwarts replica in Minecraft. And as you can see, this looks pretty good. And here is another example of a realistic Hogwarts. As you can see, you can create these types of images, and you will basically be able to explore and look around these images. I feel like this is a pretty cool use case of GPT Image 2. Now, I would not say this is a useful use case, but I would say this is pretty cool. Now, here is a massively useful use case of this model, which is that you can provide the model with an image of yourself and ask the model to use this portrait to create a personal color analysis. Which clothes suit this subject? Show a visual comparison. Keep the text minimal and avoid paragraphs. And if you give that specific prompt with an image of yourself, GPT Image 2 is going to generate very good fashion branding for you and what suits you the most. As you can see, the AI model has given the color comparison here and also provided which are going to be the best colors for you to dress in to become as beautiful as possible. It also went on to show which colors are going to be the best for you and which are not going to be that good. I think this is a pretty insane and useful use case of this AI model, as it will actually do what you are trying to do because it can think before it responds to any of your prompts. It can also create these ultra-realistic images, which look pretty cool. This one is so realistic that nobody will be able to tell this is an AI-generated image, and there are no imperfections in this specific image. Even this one looks pretty good. The text rendering ability of GPT Image 2 is so good that if you ask it to generate a massive pile of rice, and on one specific grain there is text saying, wow, then it is basically going to be able to generate an image like this for you. And if you zoom into a specific part of this image, you will see that there is a single grain of rice with the text on it saying, wow, and the text is grammatically correct with no distortions. And GPT-2 also passes the newspaper test very easily. This is a newspaper completely generated using this AI model. And the thing here is that all the text here is grammatically correct with no distortion. Even if I zoom into this smaller text, you will see there are no distortions or spelling mistakes in this text. Now, Nano Banana Pro could also do this, but the problem with that model was that if you really zoom into the smaller text here, you will see that most of the text is distorted. Only the bigger texts are correct. So this is a huge leap from Nano Banana 2. Now, another use case of GPT 2.0 is that it is able to design your websites and apps very quickly. And the thing here is that you can just plug the design of your app or website into Codex and then just turn your design into a fully fledged app with everything that you need. It can also create brand kits with color grading. If you just ask the AI model to create a clean brand kit, multiple images for a spread, or if you just give it your own brand, it is going to generate these specific colors and fonts that you are going to be using to create a professional looking brand, which is consistent throughout different videos and any brand related stuff. For example, it generated this image for a brand called Scales, and it created the color palette of the brand, the typography, the font style of the brand. This created a clean, minimal image of the brand. Now, here is another brand kit for Lovable. It took the actual brand colors of Lovable and then created a color palette, typography style, and font structure. And it was also able to create a really good brand kit for the Lovable brand, which is a web coding development tool. It also generated another color palette for this specific brand. It even generated a brand kit for ChatGPT. As you can see, this also looks pretty good with good typography and clean, non-distorted typographical text. So overall, this is a huge win for OpenAI, and they have taken a huge leap against Google in terms of their new image model. And you can also use the AI model to create a world-building set for something like an AI film that you are working on. If you are creating an AI film in another world, you obviously need world building and the structures that are going to be present in the world, like how the buildings are going to be made and how the people are going to dress. And you can just give all that information to ChatGPT, and it is going to create a world building set for you with the proper clothing for the people, the building structures, the vehicle structures, and even a map. This is pretty good and is going to tremendously increase your ability to create AI films very quickly. Also, GPT-2 can copy handwriting exactly. This specific image was created by GPT-2, and it looks like the handwriting of a human being, and you cannot tell that this was not written by a human. Whereas this is Nano Banana Pro and its ability to copy human handwriting. Now, as you can see, this also looks pretty realistic, but the thing here is that if you look closely enough, you will see that it is too perfect and the lines are too aligned, and then you will realize that it is kind of unnatural, so you will know that it is AI. But if you use GPT Image 2, you will in no shape or form realize that this is an AI-generated image. Essentially, if you ask the model to make some mistakes and add some scribbles to the paper, or make it a little bit torn, it becomes more natural. So overall, GPT Image 2 is a very good model. Now, that was about it for the video. See you in the next one.